There are many divine things around us, things we do not see, but they constantly see us. Jinn or the Jinn race. These are not imaginary. They are completely real, created by Allah Ta'ala. Like humans, the Jinn also live their lives, but they possess many supernatural abilities that humans do not have. They remain around us all the time and see everything we do, but unless they choose to show themselves, we cannot see them. Today's story is about a Jinn. So without further delay, let's go straight into the incident. But remember, this is a completely true event. I hope you will enjoy today's story. And to receive any notification from our channel, don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon. Now we are moving on to today's incident. I am telling you exactly as the person who wrote it told me. He says, I heard this incident from one of my dearest students. His name is Alvi. I collected this story from him while I was teaching him. I remember that day, after Maghrib, I went to their house to teach Alvi. That day, several guests had come to their home, so it was a bit difficult to teach. After a while, Alvi's uncle came and said, Alvi, your cousin's wedding is next month. Come on. But Alvi said, next month? Next month is Sakib brother's death anniversary. Hearing Alvi's words, a dark shadow seemed to fall across his uncle's face. What happened? That look on his face wasn't sorrow, it was fear. But why? After hearing Alvi, his uncle stayed silent for a moment and then hurried out of the room. I said to Alvi, don't mind, can I ask you something? After he agreed, I asked him about his uncle's strange behavior. Alvi remained silent for a moment hearing my question. I also gave him some time. After a while, Alvi said, Brother, wait, let me close the door. There's a lot of noise outside. It's hard to study. Saying this, he closed the door, came back, sat down on the chair, and shared with me a painful chapter from his cousin, the late Sakib's life. The way Alvi told me this story about his cousin, I am presenting it to you exactly like that, and I apologize in advance for any unintentional mistakes. Alvi says, Sakib brother was the eldest and the most loved among all our cousins. Do you know whom the devil deceives the most? We say that those who pray regularly, fast, and follow Islamic rules, the devil does not come to them. And those who do the opposite, the devil disturbs them or tries to mislead them. But is that really true? Then why did this happen to Sakib brother? Do you know what really happens? Those who do not follow Allah's commands, who do not pray, they are not caught by the devil. I'm sorry, brother, but I must say, such people who ignore religion and don't pray are themselves like devils. So the devil doesn't harm them, but those who are Allah's righteous servants, the devil tries to mislead them until death. And Sakib brother is an example of that. Of course, it cannot be said that he had no faults. Out of curiosity and an attempt to prove something, he got caught in a strange cycle, and today, he lies in his grave. We would never have known the true cause of his death if he hadn't told us everything a few months before he died. Let's start from the beginning. It was November 12th, 2014, around 4 in the afternoon. The whole village was searching for Sakib brother. People were already alarmed. He had left home the previous night at 8 and hadn't returned. Everyone in the village was looking for him. My eldest uncle's eldest son, Sakib brother. My uncle came home around 5 in the evening and sat down on a stool. There were tears in his eyes. He still hadn't found his son. A group of village police had been searching since morning, but there was no sign of him. The call to Maghrib prayer sounded, and announcements were made from the mosque. We all prayed in congregation and made dua for Sakib brother's safe return. After finishing the prayer and returning home, we were about to head out again with torches to search for him. At that moment, the village chief arrived at our house with an elderly herbalist. Although we didn't believe in such things, as the saying goes, when a man's back is against the wall, he looks for any possible way. The herbalist was seated in the yard. The full moon had risen in the sky. In those electricity-less times, the moonlight felt like it carried us 1,000 years back. That ancient courtyard, the gathered villagers, and the herbalist. It felt like some ancient ritual was about to begin. The herbalist slaughtered a chicken near the bamboo grove, and then sat down. He said, "I will call the guardian of the village, Simira. None of you speak. Only our guardian can tell us where Sakib Mia is." Out of curiosity, I asked him, "Who is the guardian?" He said, "This isn't the time to talk about that, young man. Let us first find Sakib Mia. After that, I will tell you who the guardian of the village is. Sit quietly and take Allah's name." I sat quietly. The herbalist took a clay bowl of water and poured the chicken's blood into it. Then he recited prayers and loudly said, "O guardian of the village, by Allah's mercy we call upon you. Please come, accept this small offering and tell us, where is Sakib Mia?" A moment later, the slaughtered chicken flew violently toward the bamboo grove. Brother, I am a science student. Watching all this, my entire body felt numb. After a while, 2 red eyes appeared from one corner of the bamboo grove. Ya Allah, there wasn't a single person present who didn't see those red eyes. Within moments, the sound of bones being chewed started echoing. As soon as the sound of bone crushing stopped, a traveler appeared from a distance. The Khabaraj told us, "Everyone step back. No one comes forward. Let the guardian's messenger come. I will do the talking." Everyone backed away, and after speaking with that traveler, the Khabaraj ran toward us and said, "Let's go to the graveyard immediately, Mias. Come quickly. Sakib Mia's breath is almost at its last moment." The men of the house grabbed sticks and flashlights and rushed toward the graveyard. Upon reaching the graveyard, we saw a black cat sitting at the entrance gate, its eyes as red as the ones we saw in the bamboo grove. The cat did not fear us. It walked ahead of us. After a minute or two, it sat down beside one particular grave. There he was, Sakib Bai, lying beside the grave. The grave had been dug up quite a bit. The white cloth of the shroud was visible. It wasn't very old. A foul smell was coming out of the grave. The Khabaraj told us to take Sakib Bai away from there, and he, along with a few villagers, started fixing the grave. After bringing Sakib Bai home, he was laid down in the courtyard. The Khabaraj arrived shortly after. He read some prayers over a steel glass of blessed water and poured it into Sakib Bai's mouth. Placing his hand on Sakib Bai's head, he continued reciting prayers. From the courtyard, we could see those 2 red eyes again in the bamboo grove. As the eyes disappeared, Sakib Bai regained consciousness. We gave him water to drink. Then the Khabaraj took out a small item wrapped in newspaper from his pocket. He said, "The guardian's messenger has sent this offering, Mias. Nothing to fear. Feed this to Sakib Mia." Inside the paper, we found it full of black cumin seeds. After eating the black cumin, he slowly became normal. We all felt relieved. When asked what he was doing in the graveyard, he told us he didn't really know what had happened to him. He said he stepped out at night thinking he would go to the shop, and suddenly a hot gust of wind hit him. And after that, he remembered nothing. The Khabaraj said, "Sakib Mia, there is a tradition in this village. Even when going for prayers, all worshippers must go together. No one should go alone. Otherwise, he comes and takes them. He caught you, but Allah saved you." I swore by Allah's name to the guardian. At this point, I couldn't hold my curiosity anymore. I asked the Khabaraj, "Who is the guardian, and why does he come?" The Khabaraj replied, "It seems you all do not know me, Mias. How would you? You don't live in the village. The others know me. I am the muezzin of this mosque. My grandfather and his father were also caretakers of the mosque. My great-grandfather was the imam. They were very pious people. Let me tell you then, who this guardian is and what he does." The muezzin sahib began speaking. He said, "This is an incident from my grandfather's time. My great-grandfather, that is, my grandfather's father, was the imam of the mosque, and my grandfather was the muezzin. The mosque had just been built in our village. Before the mosque, this place used to be an old abandoned house. Within a few days of building the mosque, strange problems started happening around it. Many worshippers who came to pray at night would see terrifying things. Some would see a fox the size of a camel. Some would see a buffalo with fiery red eyes. And some even claimed to see an old man walking while holding his own head in his right hand. My great-grandfather was a devout servant of Allah. He also practiced spiritual healing, but not regularly. He never used those abilities unless absolutely necessary. According to him, seeking help from jinn is forbidden in our religion. And that is absolutely true. But seeing the situation, my grandfather sat down after Zuhr prayer with the village elders to find a solution. It was decided that my great-grandfather would use his healing abilities for the sake of the villagers and the mosque. That same day after Maghrib prayer, my great-grandfather summoned a jinn that obeyed him. A young man was seated inside a circle drawn with rice powder as a medium. By Allah's will and through my great-grandfather's recitation, a jinn came and began speaking through the young man's voice. They asked the jinn what the problem in the village was and why such incidents were happening around the mosque. The jinn revealed that a wicked jinn had been imprisoned in that very spot almost 100 years ago by a Pir Sahib. His powers had been sealed inside a mango tree beside the old house using sacred prayers. But when the land was dug up during the mosque's construction, the magical seal was broken and the evil jinn escaped. However, its powers still remained bound inside the mango tree. We were fortunate the mango tree had not been cut. Had we cut it, the entire village would have turned into a graveyard by now. When asked how to solve the problem or imprison the jinn again, the jinn replied, "No one here possesses the level of knowledge the Pir Sahib had." But then it added, "There is one way." We asked what it was. The jinn said that the jinn who had helped the Pir Sahib imprison the wicked one, the helper jinn, was himself imprisoned beneath the neem tree in front of the broken old house at the end of the village. We were shocked and asked why a good jinn would be imprisoned. The jinn said that on the day they imprisoned the evil one, the helper jinn had begged Allah not to make him take part in such evil work again, as witnessing those horrors was affecting him deeply from within. And he suffers by seeing the suffering of humans. The jinn conveyed its plea to Allah to the Pir Sahib. Upon hearing the jinn's plea, the Pir Sahib said, "All right, then I will imprison you at the far end of this village, inside a tin tank. You will worship there your entire life. As long as you live, all your food and necessities will be provided there. But you cannot leave of your own free will. If anyone comes to release you, then you may go out. Promise me, you will not leave by your own will. If that shaitan is released and anyone comes to help, you will aid them. After my death, if you are freed, you will protect this village from that shaitan." The jinn pledged that it agreed to all of the Pir Sahib's commands. Then he was locked inside a tin trunk, which the Pir Sahib buried in the ground and planted a neem tree sapling over it. The jinn, speaking through the young man, told my grandfather to release the helper jinn. With this, the young man fainted. Before fainting, he had said that once the helper jinn is freed, the shaitan will rise fully again to take revenge on the good jinn. "Be careful," he warned, "not to dig the soil at the easternmost corner outside the graveyard, because that grave contains the impure black sorcerer master of the wicked jinn. Inside that grave, there is an iron rod. If that rod is placed into the mango tree, the shaitan's power will return. But since that act would make the person impure, only then could the shaitan use them. By forbidding the villagers to go alone for prayers, the young man fainted. After that, we all went together to the broken house at the village's far end and started digging under the neem tree. After digging about 7 to 8 feet, we found a tin trunk. On top of the trunk, in Arabic, it was engraved, "The being residing here is a jinn. His name is Yasin. If you wish to release him, call his name 3 times, then open the trunk." My grandfather stood in front of the trunk, called out, "Yasin" 3 times and opened it. As soon as the trunk was opened, a black cat leapt out and ran away. My grandfather said, "Yasin knows why he is being freed. He will do his work. Go to your homes." Before letting us go, he warned, "Yasin is now the guardian of this village. Be careful. Do not summon him for your selfish gains. Let him be as he is. Yasin is now the guardian of this village. The wicked jinn is the same one whose power remains imprisoned in the mango tree beside the mosque. To ensure no one approaches the mango tree, a tall bamboo fence has been built around it, which remains to this day. Listening to the Yasin Sahib, I felt as if I had entered a fairy tale land. The full moonlight at night and this history before me, it was surreal. Afterwards, the Yasin Sahib told us to return to the city, saying staying here would not be good for us. From that moment on, Sakib Bhai became different. Talking about jinns seemed to upset him. He bought almost every book about jinn available in the library and read them alone. Gradually, he stopped going to the mosque, though he still prayed at home. But did he really pray? Listen, according to my aunt, Sakib always stayed at home. He had no addictions with friends after college. When the azan was called, he would go to the washroom, perform wudu, and pray regularly. I thought that was true. It stayed in my mind, until that night arrived in my life. After returning from the village with Sakib that night, strange events began happening at home. At night, we could hear footsteps inside the house, the sound of bones being chewed, the stench of rotting meat, and yes, the most shocking thing was that meat and fish would start disappearing from the deep freezer. I didn't pay much attention to these things, at least until that night. But what I saw that night shook both Sakib's and my father's souls. That night, I woke up early for tahajjud prayer and stood to pray. Suddenly, I smelled raw meat. I finished my prayer and went outside to check the deep freezer, but found nothing. Sakib's washroom was outside his room. The light was on. I saw the door slightly open. I saw Sakib performing wudu. Seeing him, I turned my eyes away and was about to resume prayer. Then I realized the water he was using for wudu was red. When I entered the washroom, what I saw made my body go cold. Sakib had placed raw meat in a bucket, and the red water flowing from that meat he was using as wudu. First, he washed his hands and wrists 6 times, then poured the water over his mouth. Without washing his face, he let the water fall on it. Then he poured it on his head, but reversed, not in the proper wudu manner. I called Sakib's father to the room and told him everything. He said, I must have seen it in a dreamlike state. I still insisted he come with me to Sakib's room. We reached Sakib's room together. Sakib's father also smelled the raw meat. Sakib was reciting a little quietly in his room, but I couldn't understand what he was reciting. As soon as the door of his room opened slightly, what we saw still makes my hair stand on end. Sakib was reciting a surah in reverse. Sakib's father scolded him sternly, saying, Sakib, what are you doing? Have you gone mad? Stop. I'm telling you, stop. Sakib stopped praying. He looked at us and said, Abu, I was just doing this. I want one thing from you. Please give it to me. Sakib's father asked, What? What Sakib said next left us completely stunned. Sakib said, The Qurbani is in September, right? There's no need to buy a cow, Abu. Sakib's father asked, Why no need to buy a cow? Sakib said, Just cut my throat. Will you give me for Qurbani? Will you sacrifice me, Abba? Will you sacrifice me? Hearing these words from Sakib, I fainted. When I regained consciousness, it was morning. Sakib's father was beside me. I asked him, What happened? Then Sakib's father explained that he went to Sakib and struck him lightly on the forehead, after which Sakib calmed down and lay down. After that, Sakib's father removed all the jinn-related books from Sakib's room. Slowly, Sakib began to fall ill. He was taken to doctors, but no disease was detected. In this state, Sakib's father called the village's muazzin and told him everything. The muazzin advised bringing Sakib to the village, but Sakib's physical condition was very poor, so we could not take him to the village immediately. Later, on August 24th, 2015, my elder uncle called us and told us that the next day they would take Sakib to the village house and that we should go with them. Finally, on August 25th, we were able to take Sakib to the village. When we arrived at the village house, we learned that the muazzin was not there on the 25th. He had gone to the neighboring village for some work. He would arrive the next day. Meanwhile, seeing Sakib felt normal to us. The next day, August 26th in the morning, 4 large cows were brought from the cowshed to feed during the event. Sakib went to the courtyard and was talking to the herder. A little later, I noticed the herder loudly asking Sakib, "Is this guy even sane?" I said I'll report him. I scolded the herder and asked why he was behaving that way. He said Sakib had been saying all sorts of strange things to him. I asked, what exactly was he saying? At that moment, Sakib did not allow me to speak to the herder and took me aside. He said, "Forget it. What is there to say to foolish people?" I went with Sakib. A little later, Sakib began eating in the house. I went out and asked the herder, "Brother, what exactly was he saying?" The herder said, "Sakib was telling me that during the food event, why was the cow not being eaten? Because for the upcoming Qurbani Eid, he was going to be sacrificed, and he was ready." I told the herder that Sakib was a playful person and had just joked with him. I explained it carefully to the herder. In the evening, after Maghrib prayer, the muazzin arrived at the village house. He prepared a seat, and in the center of the circle of rice, Sakib was seated. Seeing this setup, Sakib became somewhat angry. He refused to sit on the muazzin's seat in any way. He loudly insisted, "Take care of the Qurbani animals, and I am the sacred being to be sacrificed for the first human being in Allah's path. Respect me." The muazzin struck Sakib lightly on the feet. "Do not speak of sacred matters like Qurbani, Satan. Be silent. Talk to me here. Who are you?" Sakib was held by 4 or 5 young men and placed in the circle of rice. As before, the muazzin brought a chicken from the bamboo bushes, sacrificed it, placed it in a clay vessel with water, recited prayers, and then poured the chicken's blood into the water. He said, "By Allah's mercy, the village guardian comes to help us through Allah's means." Hearing this, Sakib laughed while bowing, saying, "Guardian!" "Muazzin, you will not be able to tell everything like me. I know the full lineage of your family. Imdad, your father's name is Usman, his father's name is Suleiman, his father's name is Ali, his father's name is Ismail, his father's name is Kudrat. Want to hear more? Now you tell me, who am I?" The muazzin swallowed hard. He was a little scared. Honestly, we were scared too at that moment. The muazzin began silently praying. He recited prayers and sprinkled the prayer water over Sakib. Then he asked, "Why have you come?" At that moment, a tree branch fell from above the house onto the muazzin's hand. He screamed in intense pain. The falling branch shifted the rice in the circle to one side. Sakib jumped up from the seat and grabbed the muazzin by the throat. At the same time, the sacrificed chicken flew into the bamboo bushes. 2 red eyes were visible from the bushes. Sakib sat up sharply. Fear made him gulp. From the bushes, the sound of bones being crushed could be heard. The muazzin composed himself. From afar, 5 to 7 travelers arrived, seemingly from nowhere. They came and stood in 2 lines beside the muazzin. Suddenly, the sound of bones being eaten stopped. From between the 2 lines of travelers, the black cat with the red eyes slowly approached and sat beside the muazzin. Sakib fell completely silent. Suddenly, a flash of lightning blinded our eyes for a moment. When I opened my eyes, I saw that the travelers and the cat were nowhere to be found. I looked at Brother Sakib and felt as if someone had held his arms and legs so tightly that he couldn't move. Muazzin Sahib asked, "Who is on Brother Sakib's body, and why have they come?" Looking at Sakib, it seemed his limbs had now been released. In a deep, heavy voice, he said, "Assalamu alaikum, Muazzin Sahib. I am Yasin, the one your grandfather freed. You are fortunate that your grandfather was such a good man, and you are his descendant. Otherwise, for calling me, I could have taken your life. Anyway, in this boy's body resides Sukumar. This boy has lied to you. He is a pious person, but because of a small lie, he is facing this consequence." That night, he remembers nothing. This is a lie. After I leave his body, you can ask him, and you will know the truth. I cannot directly stop Sukumar because I am responsible for the protection of this village. This boy is an outsider, and he is now suffering the consequences of his actions. If he had told the truth that night, I could have helped him. But now Sukumar has destroyed his lungs and heart. He will not survive. Sukumar seems to have found a way to regain his power through a ritual of sacrifice on a holy day. That is why, on a sacred day like al-Adha, he wishes to offer this boy as a sacrifice, dedicating him to his path. I can take Sukumar away, but it will not help. Still, I am taking Sukumar. The one who heals is Allah, not me. Forgive me. I am leaving. Assalamu alaikum. Before leaving, I asked him, Yasin Sahib, wait, who is Sukumar? Tell me. Yasin Sahib looked at me and said, Sukumar is an ancient demon, called by a black magician of this village who sacrificed one of his eyes. But when the villagers discovered the black magic, they beat him to death. After death, his body was buried in the ground. One of his eyes would not close even after death. So, the villagers drove a nail into that eye and buried it at the far edge outside the graveyard. I am leaving now. Allah protect you. Yasin Sahib then took Sukumar from Brother Sakib's body. We tried to revive Sakib. Later, when he regained consciousness, we asked him about the events of that night. He said one of his friends did not believe in the punishment or questioning in graves. To prove him wrong, Sakib had gone to the graveyard that night with a camera to record a video. But upon arrival, he became the target of a red-eyed presence. He saw a woman in beautiful attire staring at him. He asked her who she was. She replied her name was Sukumar, the daughter of the village head, which was actually a lie. Seeing Sakib at the graveyard so late, she had come there. Then when Sakib asked why she had come, she told him that if he opened a grave at the far edge, he would find the evidence he needed. But as Sakib attempted to dig, he saw a black cat blocking his way. After that, he remembers nothing. Following this, we brought Sakib to the city, as his physical condition worsened. He was kept under a doctor's observation. al-Adha approached. Believing that a sacrifice in Allah's name might bring mercy, my elder uncle intended to offer a sacrifice. 2 days before Eid, he called my father, saying that since Eid al-Adha was approaching, they would buy a cow the next day and wanted to sleep a little earlier. But due to work, it was delayed. At midnight, around 12:40 a.m., he heard Sakib's voice whispering, Abu, sacrifice me. Then, my uncle went to Sakib's room and found him lying as if his body had dried up completely. When Eid came, the sacrifice was offered in Allah's name. Sakib participated in the Eid sacrifice despite his condition, but he could not survive. On November 23, 2015, he passed away. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. With a long sigh, Alfie, his cousin, concluded the story of Sakib. He said, Dear listeners, this was today's true incident sent for you. We will meet again another week with a new story. Until then, stay well, stay healthy. Allah Hafiz. With these words, he ended the story. I hope this story was as gripping for you as it was for us. If you enjoyed it, do let us know.